Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Sad day. Don't worry. It'll be a happy stream though. Even if we gotta talk about Cucui. Sweet little Cucui. Hey, Serenity. How you doing? Yeah, my little boogeyman. He's gone to haunt. He will. He absolutely will. He was Gabe and my first pet together. And I've got some good videos of him. I'm gonna do something of him today, so we'll have stuff. It's just sad. At least it's cute though, because the day that he died, which was actually yesterday, in the morning, I had poked him in the butt and I was like, "You awake? You awake?" And he's like, "Yeah, Mama, I'm awake." And he kind of turned to me, he's like, "Why are you bothering me?" "Yes, I'm awake. I'm always awake." And I was like, "Okay." And later, sometime during the day, he went. So, at least I kind of got to see him before he went. You know, it's not like it was during the night or something. So, there's that. But, I did want to throw a video up of him. He did. There's always more you think you could have done, and I still think I could have done more. Gabe keeps telling me, you know, no. I did all I could, but, you know, I know some people think it's not a big deal because it's a hamster, but come on, you know. It's still a pet to me. Let's see. Let me see if I can... I don't know why this isn't... Put that up here, maybe? Here's a little video of him being a cutie. That's when we first got him. I gave him a carrot and he really liked it. Yeah. It's true. But like I said, I mean he was a good little hamu. And I get just as upset usually, you know, about hams and stuff. I mean dogs, yeah, dogs wreck you, obviously, but I mean, you know, you can't not be sad about, especially when you had a, you know, ham and you like him. Thank you, Glitter. It's okay. It's also one of those things. It's like I don't want to announce it online because I don't want to get a bunch of PMs or something. I mean, I know that's really nice of people, but it's also, I understand that it's a hamster. I get it. I get that a lot of people would be like, sorry, I guess. It's like you lost a fish. It's like, no. You know, he was still something I doted on, I took care of. You know, I made up a mythos about him, which I'm gonna try to draw today. We'll see how this goes. But he's a sweet little guy. So the videos on the side, the one playing right now, that was like a couple days ago. So his hair grew out and it grew, you know, super gray, but like when he was young, he was super black. It's crazy. He was so different colored. God, all the dogs are asleep, like, all of a sudden. But, yeah, he was a good little guy. I don't think I want it to be that big. Gabe, can you hand me a comic board?
He's a good boy.
I think this would be better suited. Wait, where are you going? Oh, I was gonna say that right there. Oh, were you holding her? Oh, thank you. So part of me wants to jump and get more hams, but I think I should wait a minute and let it sink in. No. Let's do it this way. I think I want to do it this way. Right? The color difference is crazy. He was such a cute little hammo. He was my little grandpa. He was so kind of curmudgeon-y, but he never bit me. He was always very sweet. He was very well behaved. He ate everything basically I gave him. He didn't exactly have a favorite food because he liked all food.
He's a good boy.
So yeah, he was a good ham. I mean, I've had many a ham in my time, but he was a good one. It was cute when we first got him. You can see on that video he's got like little wings of fur off the left and the right, and I remember those grew out, and it's almost like he had what was that? What was that car that had fins in the 50s?
Well, a lot of them did.
Well, 50s car fins, that's what it looked like. And then eventually all his hair started growing out. And then that other video, that was before I gave him a little haircut. But I would give him haircuts every so often. But yeah, that's a year difference. He lived almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which 2 to 3 years is kind of their expectancy, I guess. So, you know, pretty on point.
Well, I feel like also the fact that he's
He's
we
a
got him
good
at
boy.
like
Cuckoo.
a pet shop, so you know it was like a I guess a hamster mill.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like buying, knowing their ham mills and such. You know, I don't like supporting that, but at the same time, I have this, what's the word? This argument in my head. Hold on, my nose is running. This argument in my head about, well, what happens to the ones that are still there? You know, do you just leave them there to get, you know, kind of abused through the tapping into the glass and stuff? Like, I'd rather grab these hams before a 6-year-old does, because I know I'm going to take better care of a hamster. Don't get kids rodents, you guys. Rodents aren't meant to be with kids. They're a lot more delicate than people think. I think they think just because their size, they're not a big deal, but it's like they're still a life and deserve respect, you know? So the fact people always give them to kids bothers me. But yeah, I did get them at a pet store, which I'm not proud of, but at the same time, I feel like I rescued him from it. So it's not like the pet store is going to stop selling them anytime soon. You know, it sucks. And it is really hard to find hamster rescues. You can check all the humane societies and stuff, but what people normally do instead of surrendering hamsters is they just let them go into the forest. Like, I remember when I had a rabbit when I was really little, and my dad was like, I don't want to take care of this anymore. And I was too young to take care of it myself. Don't ask me why they got a rabbit then. I was like, okay. Because they told me this later. He just drove it to a forest and let it go. I was like, Dad, that's a rabbit. He's like, yeah, but it could be some food for something else. I was like, come on. Oh, yeah, glitter. Sorry, I just realized that the sounds were playing on that. Hi, Eliza. Yeah, 2 years is a pretty good age for him. He would have been... Actually, we don't know when he was born. Maybe he was born in October.
Yeah.
Because we got him in February almost 2 years ago. But he was already a little bit big, you know. But, yeah. So, the idea behind that then is my little video there and whatever today. I was like, well, it's one of those times I could use this for a good thing. So I buried him out in the backyard and put a stone over him. Put some clovers on him, you know, as I do. But I was thinking, I'm just editing this live because I don't care, that I could just kind of depict how I saw him. I was planning on kind of doing a like a pet and armor for him eventually, something really nice, but then I was like, I'm not gonna have time for that for years, right? So I figure I'll just do this idea I had in my head, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I want it. Yeah, maybe I do. So anyway, rest in peace, Cuckoo. Cuckoo. He was a sweetie. He was such a good ham. So the idea behind what I was thinking is that, since we named him Cucui, which is the Mexican boogeyman, for those that don't know. Let me see if I can unmute this. So he kind of looked like something scary because he was dark and he had the rings around the eyes and stuff. But I found when he was on the wheel, he was a thunderous ham. Like, he had a big rump and he was a fatty boy, and I love that about him. But at the same time, I was like, man, he can really hold a beat. Like, I've had many a hamster, and some of them they go da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-da-dun on the wheel, and then they'll kind of stop, they'll slow down, and then they'll pick up again, and it'll kind of not be too rhythmic, right? It's not like they pride themselves on being, whatever. So with Cucui, what was really cool was that he was really on beat. Like, I don't know, he must have had some sort of sense of rhythm, because he was really good at it. So when he'd be running in the wheel, it'd be a pretty constant beat. So I ended up calling him my little drummer. And then I thought of this idea where maybe, since he's a boogeyman and he's a drummer, maybe he leads kind of like a Pied Piper other hams and rodents to the other side, right? Because he's got the boogeyman side of him, so he's got that dark part. And then I thought it'd be really cute if, since he's got that rhythm to him, I put it together, and I was like, well, this would be cute. So let's go with that. And I figured it'd be cute if there was, if you're not familiar with a millet spray, millet sprays are like, if you Google it, you'll see, but I don't have one near me. I buried him with one because he ended up really liking it. But I did a pet portrait, actually, for a woman that had 4 hams. I was so happy to do her portrait of 4 hams. But she always fed him millet sprays, and I actually had never seen those before. So I went and bought Cuckoo some because this lady's pet portrait, and he ended up loving it. And so I figured it'd be cute if there were millet sprays kind of around them. And like I said, you can Google it. They're like a type of grain plant, I guess. Can you see this okay? Oh, you can't see anything yet. Sorry, the pencils, it's going to be kind of rough, I guess, until I actually get the inks going. Here, let's try this. Let's see if this helps. Oh yeah! Yeah, birds eat millet too. So I was thinking about, what I was going to do with the rest of his food. Funny enough, so he died yesterday during the day, right? And I was like, well, I'll give the birds outside all of his food and all that type of thing, and, then at least it won't go to waste. But then I was thinking maybe I'll get a couple more hams soon. We'll see. I don't know. I want to, give him some time to reflect on him and stuff. I don't like him, right away going and getting a new thing. But I was thinking then I could use the food for the new ones, because it does feel like I'm kind of rescuing them, even if I do get them at a pet store. I mean, they're, like I said, they're not going to stop anytime soon, even if PETA boycotts Petco and all that stuff. It's like they're not going to stop keeping all those animals, so I feel more for the animals, what's going to happen to them? If people just stop buying them to boycott the company, it's like, I get it, but what about them right now? So I at least feel if I go get them that I'm saving them somewhat. But anyway, like I said, I spent a lot of time last night trying to find, since I'm in Chicago now, it's a whole different place. So I wanted to see if I could find any, small animal rescues and stuff. a lot of the time it's rats, guinea pigs, and rabbits. So it's the bigger guys. Unfortunately, it's never usually the hamus. PETA is scary. They're a little bit too much. Oh, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. I know you never knew him, but he was a good boy. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. And like I said, I know how ridiculous it may be to some people that it's like, yo, it's a hamster, big whoop. But like I said, it's one of those things where sometimes something in your life is represented, like a time in your life is represented by certain things, right? So he might be more of a milestone, technically. Like when Gabe and I first moved out of Von House and moved into our own place, we got him, and you know, I remember a lot of things because of Cucui. So it's more that we remember things because of him, you know. And you know, being nostalgic can be pretty, you know, heartfelt and moving, and just in general. But when it's tied to a living thing, it's a lot, you know, more moving. And don't worry, I'm not gonna cry or anything. I haven't cried actually yet. I would just get really sad about it. But yeah, I'm gonna give him some ghostly hair here, because his hair was so majestic. Actually, I wonder, do you guys want me to keep playing the video on the side? Does that... Because when we got him, his hair was long, but it wasn't crazy long, and as he grew, I would groom him with either one of Gabe's beard trimmer attachments or a toothbrush. And I'd cut his hair sometimes if it got too long or stuff got stuck in it. But since he was a Syrian, he had long hair. It kept going and going. I want to make the millet almost a little bit bigger. So maybe he drums them to the underworld, who knows. But he liked his yogurt and he liked his sunflower seeds. I love simple animals. I love animals in general because they're simple, but even more simple animals can sometimes be pretty enchanting, I think. I mean, you guys know my whole thing is simple animals. He'll sing tales of millets and ferry the dead across. I have another story about ferrying dead that is on the list of things to do in the next couple years. But I thought of this idea that, you know, since he's the boogeyman, you know, Cucui is the Mexican boogeyman, that it would make sense for him. So I'm gonna draw probably some skeletal hams behind him, kind of dancing. Not sure how I want him to look. It'd be cute if they're a little bit cartoony. How are you guys though? How's your week been? I guess it's pretty appropriate too that he went towards the end of October. Everybody else have a good Friday? Just glad it's the weekend. I can understand. Gonna prep for D&D. Fire Seal, how often do you get to play D&D? Oh, Serenity, your week's not over yet? Ugh. has at least been kind of easy. I feel like every time I stream, it's like I just asked you guys this, but it was a whole different week. It's so strange. I kind of want them to be wearing like ghost gowns. Because I feel like if I draw just skeletal form, it's not gonna scream hamster. Because I mean, hamsters are fluff. You know, they're mainly hair. But I do find that every time something in my life dies, I tend to do something in art related to it. I don't always announce it either. But I mean, maybe my art will get more dark than dark for a little bit, or maybe it'll be something really out of the ordinary. But, you know, I feel like sometimes you gotta let things out a certain way. I feel like that's art, you know? I didn't have a plan for this piece either, other than having Cucui kind of leading others away while he's drumming, because he's a thunder ham. I was telling everybody earlier that he was the only hamster I've had that could keep a good rhythm on his wheel. So, because he could do that, I figured I'd depict him beating a drum. I'm not going to fully ink a lot of these parts because I want them to kind of just be floating. Maybe I'll put in their ears too. That makes the skeletons a lot cuter. So I've got their teeth, which this is totally inaccurate, but whatever, you know. I don't like this one looking scared though. Maybe this one's got a seed they're bringing to the underworld. Sunflower seed. Hi, kitchen. Really, Fire Seal? I didn't even know that. It's Friday, though. Right? Yeah. Oh, wow. So, Serenity, does that mean you're working a double? Oh, you gotta prep. That's fun, though, right, Fire Seal? Do you get a lot of inspiration off your D&D stuff? Honestly, please tell me you're gonna do something with all your bread work. Like, that's another, I know we hassle you all the time, but it's another book's worth. You know, just to have breadworks. Seriously. And since they're D&D centric, you could even relate it to that, use that hashtag, all that kind of crap. Dungeon Master. Oh, were you? Yes! Oh, good. That's great. Oh my god, Serenity. Poor thing. I think this one should be holding a banner. I would actually dig that. I'm a little bit sad because I knew when this happened I wouldn't have a ton of time to give it as much love as I wanted to. And it is true even now. So I'm very sad about that, but I'm going to try to do what I can. There we go. Oh, you guys can't even see this. Come on. Ashley. all these guys over here. There. I'll move Cuckoo maybe down here. Oh my god. It's just crazy how big he got. He got to be such a behemoth boy. He's my big fluff. 7th year. Do you at least get paid double? Yeah, all the puppos are sleeping. Serenity, or Eliza. All the puppos be sleeping. Maybe this one's the light bear. That's good. See, at least, like, I kind of miss working on holidays and getting, like, double to triple. I was working in healthcare, technically. Even though I was just a receptionist, it counted as healthcare, so I got, like, triple, double sometimes. I mean, depending on, you know, what the holiday was. So that was really cool. Maybe they've got hoods. Maybe hoods would be cute. I think the main thing I want to get across with this, and I think that's a good thing to plan for when you're doing stuff, is to say, okay, if nothing else, I'm shooting for this. So for me, I really want to get this wispiness across of a few things where it just kind of fades, you know? He was such a good ham. I mean, like I said, I kind of gave him his space. I didn't want to bother him too much. He was kind of a grumpy old man. He had his schedule. You know, I didn't ever want to interrupt that. He had his things he liked to do. His schedule did change over time too, which was really interesting. Like lately, he started running a lot later in the evening. Like he would start maybe, you know, in the AMs, like 2 a.m., 4 a.m. But before that, he was up when we were up, and he'd be up at like 11 and stuff. But at some point, he started going later and later. It's really hard to tell when you're there the whole time how much older they're getting, you know? It's kind of like if you've ever gotten fat. I don't know how many of you have ever gone fat, thin, whatever. But I got really fat one year, and it's like I didn't even notice it because you look at yourself every day where it's so minimal. You don't realize you're getting huge, and then like one day you see a picture of yourself and you're like, what? You know? And I think that happens a lot with married people too. Like they're both with each other so much they don't even notice the other one's getting gigantic, you know? So I think that happened with me and Cucui, where, you know, he got big. And I knew he was big, but, you know, looking at this video, that's, you know, right when we got him. And then the second one there when he's gray, that's, that was a couple days ago. So he definitely got bigger, that's for sure. He was an old man. He would let me, like, brush him and stuff. And he was pretty okay about it. Once in a while, he'd get alerted and be like, "What? Why are you touching me? Don't touch me right now." And it'd be fine. Like, within a minute or two, he'd be like, "Alright, go ahead. I know it's for the better, you know, the best." So he'd let me do it. But, like, when I say he was cranky, that's all I mean. He never bit me or anything like that. He would bite things to, like, check him out. So, like, if I brought down the toothbrush, he'd kind of nibble at it, be like, what's this? Oh, okay, go ahead. It was really cute. But he was the first Syrian I've had in a really long time. I think the last one I had was maybe when I was in my preteens, if not earlier. Otherwise, I've had Robovorskis and Campbells, which are the really tiny Hamus. I had gerbils once, but I'm not doing that again. I don't like gerbils. Kitchen, you're big right now. It's okay, man. As long as, you know, you're aware of it and you take strides to keep trying to get down, you know. Unless you're happy being big. If you're happy being big, whatever. Rock it. But I'm even a little big right now, too. And I mean, I still run every day. I don't eat too bad. So I guess as long as you're, you know, making strides towards your goal, at least you're doing that. Everybody has a binge day once in a while, and whatever. It's just what happens. Plus, we're getting into the holiday season, which is not making it any better. Like, I keep seeing recipes. I saw one yesterday for this, like, 6-ingredient apple crumble. The perfect kind, or whatever. And I was like, oh my god, yes. I want an apple crumble. It's like, no. No, I should not eat the apple crumble. Here, it's gotta be kind of annoying. Like I said, as long as you guys, you know, you make strides to, you know, get smaller or to eat better, it's all about being healthy. You know? Healthy and happy, and whatever size you are for that, you know. Because it sucks. It's like, I know the times I've said, oh, I feel so fat right now, and I'm actually around someone who's maybe 300 pounds, they get offended. And I'm like, no, I'm fat for me, okay? This is me thinking I'm fat, and that's okay. You're fat for you, maybe. You know, it's different per person, depending on your frame and how you feel in your own skin. Fat, the idea of I'm fat will change, you know? So... stress, I could see that. Yeah, stress eating. I think I might stress eat. Gabe, what would you say is my worst problem when I eat too much? Is it because I'm stressed? Is it because I'm procrastinating?
Both.
Stressed and procrastinating? Yeah. So what I've been trying to do lately, because I realize that those are kind of my sins, like I'll want to, well, I have to eat. It's that time. I have to go eat. When it's like, you're working. You're knee deep in work right now. You should keep working. Don't go eat yet. You know, and I won't even really be hungry. I'll just be like, no, it's time to go do this. And like chores do that to me too. But lately I've been pretty good about trying to focus more on what I'm doing at the moment. So if I'm working on a portrait, I'll kind of set like, okay, when I'm done with pencils and flats, then I can go get something to eat. And because I do that instead of not doing that, I won't eat as much. So that's been good. And plus, I've started, I don't know how I've been doing it lately. I've been happier working on work, and I don't know what I changed. Yeah, I don't know what changed. Procrastinac. Gabe and I call it procrastibaking. Like, I think there was a time where every night I was baking a banana bread. Because I was just so, I don't know. Well, we've got bananas. They're going bad. I have to do this right now. Even though, like, a bunch of bananas is, what, $1? It was bad. Oh, God. But it's like, I think the next level after procrastinacker is procrastibaking, because it takes so much longer. Because you're actually baking something. You're like, you know, there are so much more ingredients and all this stuff. So watch out for that if you're a stress snacker. Oh, procrastinating. Right? Wasting bananas is a sin, so it's like, well, I have to do this. Ugh. I don't know what to put on this banner. But yeah, I want a lot of things in this to be thin and just really kind of wispy. I'm going to try to do that. I like to think when he picks up another ham on his parade that he gives them a complimentary seed. But I buried him out back with some little snacks, so on his journey he won't get hungry. His favorite snacks. He loved yogs. The little yogurts that you give him, we call them yogs. He loved it. You've never reached procrastinating? Are you somebody who enjoys cooking? Because if you're not, you might not be a procrastinator. You might be one of those people that does chores instead. Well, this is dirty. I have to vacuum. You know? I feel like there are two roads. You can either do procrastinating or procrastinators. Unless there's a third one and you just go game and you don't even feel bad about it. Like game and watch things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do that. My guilt just would destroy me. Your house does get cleaner? Okay, so you might be the chore person. Ugh, I think that's so funny. Hey, can you grab me the millet bag?
Or is it?
It's in Cucui's old thing. I know they're kind of shaped like this, but I also wanted to show one on stream so you guys have some semblance of maybe what they look like if you've never seen them before. They're probably at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. I have a few left, so I'll either save them for the next hams or whatever. Healthy select. The animals they always put on here just look bugged out most of the time. Like, you know. Paraconejos, hamster. Hamster in Spanish is hamster? Because it's conejos is rabbits, ratones is rats.
Yeah, well, even ratones is like very
It's,
Spanglish.
is it?
I mean, rats?
Well, what's the actual Spanish then?
Well, ratones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's...
Oh, it's an English
It
word.
wasn't a Spanish word to begin with.
And other animals, other small animals. Y otros animales pequeños. That's weird, they don't even mention mice. What's mice? What's mouse?
Maybe that's also something.
You think so?
Ratoncito?
Oh, little rat. So sometimes they're a chunk, like this. But a lot of the times I've also seen them be a little bit sparse with a little globe and another little globe. I want to do it that way. I like that aesthetic way better. I'm sorry, honey. It wasn't actually for you. I bet you thought that was snacks for you. I'm sorry. Bruni's looking at me like, is that for me? Is that mine? It's like, no, honey. Sorry. Yeah, see, some of these, they aren't as sparse as I'd want them to be. No, you know what? I'm going to do it my way anyway. Because that's how I roll. But they do have little, like, fibers in between them. I'm going to try to work those in too. I was gonna say, yeah, they do super Photoshop them. This rabbit's cracked out. Oh, Glitter said ratones was mice and ratas was rats.
Oh, there you go.
Is that sounds right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, weird. Brittany, gross. Stop it. Take her.
Bernie.
Why is she still wearing this?
Bernie, come here. Bernie. Bernie. Burn.
Bruni gets fixed next week, by the way. She's gonna go in and get her parts all messed up. Bruni, you should be really tired right now.
That FOMO.
They are kitchen. It's kind of fun to just go down an aisle and look at dog food bags. Like, the dogs are always like, hey, I'm so happy for you to be eating this. It's so real. I started feeding the dogs like real chicken and stuff. It's more expensive. There's not really a cheap way to do it, honestly. It's more expensive than dry food, but I think in the long run you save yourself money from vet trips, because I read this thing about dog food, and so when you're feeding them like real food, like real chicken, they don't need as much as if you were feeding them regular dog food. And that's mainly because it's the same sort of thing as fast food. Like dog food, that like kibble and stuff, it's more like fast food where there's a lot of fillers to make you feel like you're full, but you're not really full. So that when I actually feed them real food, I feed them less technically than you would with, like kibble, because it's so, nutritious anyway. So it's really weird to have had animals all my life, feed them not kibble, and actually see them like excited for every meal. Because I've had dogs in the past where you give them their kibble and they look at it and they're like, God damn it, really? I don't want to eat this, and I don't blame them. The fact they always want our food too, it's like, that has to tell you something. It's spay day, hooray! Hopefully it makes her a little less aggressive. She's doing the thing again, Gabe. Can we just move this bed? Because I feel like she's going to keep doing that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're giving them real food. So their favorite stuff to eat is yams, chicken. I give them ground turkey sometimes. I know they like the chicken way better. But it's weird being a vegetarian and buying like full things of, raw chicken, and I'm like, whoa. But then I wonder, am I actually going against, what do you want? Going against like being a vegetarian by buying them food? Isn't it the same then for the household? That sort of thing? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, since kibble isn't the best for them, they're gonna get potentially more sick easily. This is so weird that this doesn't like. He's giving her a huff. And remember not to feed dogs rawhide anything. Get the things that are like the antlers or the cow hoofs, anything like that, because that's actually real and hasn't been processed. Where the rawhide, so bad for dogs, so bad. It's been like ultra processed, bleached and chemical baths. Yeah, you gotta look it up and see how rawhide is made. It's really bad. Yeah, we usually buy boneless chicken breast, which honestly, it's a little bit more expensive, but the nice part is I can just throw it into we have an Instant Pot, which if you don't have an Instant Pot, you need to get an Instant Pot. It is so good for so many things, and if you're a meat eater, you'll thank me, because it cooks your meat so good. Like when we tear up their chicken for them, it just falls apart. So, you probably want one of those. You can cook anything in it, and it turns out amazing. Just look up Instant Pot recipes, especially slow cooker meals and stuff. The pressure pot side of it's really cool. Like, you can cook rice in like less than 20 minutes perfectly, and you don't have to do anything. You just throw it in there with some water. It's pretty great. Yeah, they're worth it, man. I can't speak for the ones, though, that are combined with an air fryer. I don't know how good those work. Because we have one that's, like, just an Instant Pot. I don't know about the air fryer ones. Do we know anybody who has the combo air fryer? Wesley might.
He's got it.
I know he was, like, ultra in love with his Instant Pot. But yeah, like, we wouldn't be able to feed the dogs as easily if we didn't have it. It would be a nightmare. Because honestly, I just throw frozen chicken into it at like 11 a.m. and just set it for 6 hours, and then it's perfect at the end. And then if I need to cook them rice, like I said, then you just cook them rice, 20 minutes, it's done. Oh, wisdom teeth, yeah. I had that done in my 20s. It's pretty cool. I had some apocalyptic dreams while I was on that, like, anesthesia. It was cool. It was really cool. Try and remember your dreams if you can, Seal. Oh, thank you, Glitter. You have a good rest of your weekend, okay? Thanks for stopping by. Cucui will be in all of our memories. For at least a little bit longer. Those that didn't have him but knew of him. Remember the ham cam? See? I gotta get new ham so I can bring back the ham cam.
I guess this one would be a lot better when
If they're the little ones, yeah. Is that what you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and my desk setup is probably better for that
Yeah.
now than it was. But, I don't know, I like the ham cam. It was something different to look at. It was something that was very me, you know? I mean, it helps too because I had, you know, my intro animation. I'm riding a hamster, for Christ's sake. Almost on brand. Oh, just local? Really? Oh my god, Serenity. So you were awake the whole time? Did they take the hammer and break them and pull them out? Like, how much did you see? Oh my god. Oh. I wouldn't be able to handle that. Like the sound of them cracking? Nope. Nope. You're brave. I could not do that. Nope. No, sir. Yeah, Fire Seal, if they give you the option, you should totally get knocked out. Especially, like, I've never broken a bone or been to the hospital, anything like that. So I've never actually been put under except for that one time. And if I could do it again someday, I think I would, because I had, like I said, the craziest dreams. It was so cool. Oh, broken teeth. An electric saw? Ah! Oh, that's another smell I hate. When you're in the... Did you smell this when you got your cavity fixed? When they drill in your tooth and you smell burning tooth?
No, because one of my nostrils was clogged, and then the other one was constantly...
Breathing?
Well, the other one was either breathing, or it was... I think because I'm also coming around my sickness, I can still, you know...
Right. Don't forget to get flu shots, too. Get your flu shots. Because even if, you know, you're like... I'm not going to get the flu. You could carry the flu and give it to, like, an elderly person. And not everybody, though, can get the flu shot. So if you're one of those people that can't get it, I get it. That makes sense. Like, there are some people whose immune systems can't handle them. Stuff like that. But, which sucks, because that just basically means they're going to get it. No, Fire Seal, that sucks. Damn, Serenity. I have had a tooth removed, though. Like, I've had an extraction, because one of my teeth was just so bad, it just needed to go. I've been told by, like, 2 dentists that I have the most naturally unfortunate teeth. Like, the pits in my molars are just naturally really deep. So I'm just super prone to everything going wrong. It sucks. But yeah. I feel you. I'm gonna loosely put in some hair. Because like I said, I want the rest of it to be really wispy and kind of on its own. And I'll probably go in afterwards too and kind of give it direction if it's a little bit too loose. But Fire Seal, did you happen to maybe, oh, I don't know, apply for Emerald City for next year? You doing that yet? Because you totally need to, bro. I mean, you're gonna have, what, 2 books ready? You didn't make it! Damn it. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Next time Gabe has, like, a comic that he's working on that you can, like, maybe do flats for, do some flats for him, because then he can give you comic credit, and that actually bumps you up in the process. So, next time Gabe has, like, an actual, I guess, book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's really, honestly, how I get in. I've done flats for Gabe before, for an Oni Press book, and it's still, like, that was, what, 3 years ago? And that still gets me in, like, every year. So, yeah. Well, at least you're on the waiting list. That's good. Don't hold your breath for that, but it's better than just being all out rejected.
But also know that by waiting list means that they might hit you up like the week of.
Mm-hmm. So you gotta be prepared, even, you know, even if you think you're not going. Oh, you haven't received anything? So you applied and you never heard back? At all? Not even like a rejection? If you can hear that, that is a helicopter. Outside. Wait, okay, so did you send an application in when applications were open, or did you apply too late? Because, yeah, if you haven't heard back, I mean, at all, you might not be on at all. Oh, 2 weeks before? Then you should be good. They should have at least sent you back something. Maybe check your spam. Gabe, do they ever not, like, respond?
Don't know.
I've never known them to not, like, tell you one way or the other. Like, usually it's a rejection, an approval, or a wait list.
Yeah, usually the rejection is
The wait list.
Unless they flat out reject you for some reason.
Right.
And I think
Oh, you did get it for wait list. Okay.
I've seen them reject people.
Like, other cons can just reject people.
Well,
like,
I mean, like, even like ECC and C2E2, I've seen them reject people based on what it was that they were selling. They just
oh,
haven't
yeah. Because if you're doing 3D and you're not supposed to for the artist alley.
Yeah, you're just like selling shirts and stuff like that. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a vendor thing. That's not an artist alley thing. But you should be fine. You shouldn't have to worry about that. That's good though. Like I said, waitlist is good. And then the more you can put about having like self-published books and things, that helps too. So that, you know, the more, even if they're digital, if you can say you've self-published books, that's going to look better because that's going to make you look ambitious. But the more professional comic credit will always get you in above other people pretty much instantly. Because, I mean, think about the logistics. They're comic shows, right? So that means they're looking for comic people. I would guess the same thing goes for anime shows. If you'd ever worked on, like, an anime, you'd be in instantly. Or you did voice acting or some crap. Honestly, cap print is your best bet, because FedEx and anything local typically isn't. Unless, of course, where you live has some good places. I don't know, Gabe, does Seattle, Washington area have good print places, or would you...
Minutemen?
Huh?
Minutemen?
Oh, you mean for books.
Oh.
Sorry, I thought you meant prints. So yeah, Minutemen does books, right?
Yeah, they're just another FedEx.
Oh, never mind then.
But in terms of books, it's...
For books, yeah, we're even
Something
having that
else.
problem. A lot of our stuff is probably going to have to be digital until we find a better printer.
So we want a front.
Because yeah, right now every print, like book printer we find is like 3 times as much as we were paying at our last one that ended up going out of business.
So I guess really the thing that if we're gonna do a book from now on, it's gonna have to be
Funded?
huh?
Funded?
Yeah, or it's gonna have to be like a floppy, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. So Fire Seal, if you just have to do saddle stitch, staple bound stuff, it's better than nothing. You know? And like a lot of my books, you've seen, I hand bind them too. Which you don't have to do that. It is kind of fun though. It just can be really time consuming, so if you don't have a lot of time, it sucks. But if you want something kind of mindless to do once in a while, it's kind of fun.
I think honestly right now, like I'm gonna put a link in the thing, but Glam is a good go-to. What was the other one? Wellspring?
Comics Wellspring, yeah. But I think it's with an X. Comics.
Yeah, Comics Wellspring is another good spot. And this is just to do like...
Not good, but decent.
Yeah. This is a place... These places are to do like either like single issue style comics, like just, you know, with staple bound, or if you want to get a manga sized or a graphic novel sized book printed. So I think that's our biggest problem, is that if we are going to get more books made, then we're going to have to start adhering to the sizes that, you know, like the normal sizes that people use.
Which sucks because I want my second Pet and Armor book to be the same ratio as the first one. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Are you still having sick problems?
I think it's just allergies right now.
Oh, okay, kitchen. Thank you. It's true. You don't get used to them going, really. And no matter how small they are. You know, if I had a pet cricket and he died, I'd be sad too. But thank you. That is very much appreciated. I hope your headache gets better. Take something for it. If you take ibuprofen, make sure to take it with food. Or else you're going to get an upset stomach. But yeah, I feel better. Okay, have a good rest of your night, Fire Seal. Keep us in the loop. If you have any questions, let us know. Are you working on the backgrounds?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi, Bruni. What do you want? No, leave Butters alone. Bruni. Oh, goodness. She always sits on Butters. Oh, Lord. Be okay if she didn't go all the way back, but she's like on her. And Butters hasn't moved yet. I don't know if she can.
Butters sleeping.
And she's trying to. Attractive, Bruni. How old are your birds, Serenity? Like, did you adopt them from somebody, or did you get them when they were babies? $10. Oh. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I think it'll look a little bit more together once I get in the ink, like the ink wash. Right now it's like, what the hell's going on? 10 months, so they are still super babies, yeah? Goodness. Oh, that's good. That was the other thing. We're talking about getting animals from Petco and stuff, and like I said, I really don't agree with how they treat their animals there, but I do feel like sometimes I'm rescuing them by getting them there. But even if Cucui was a little bit mistreated, or the tapping on the glass sort of thing, I feel like at least for the rest of his life, I made sure he wasn't, he had a good, like, no stress time. Which is why, I tried not to bother him too much. I let him do whatever he kind of wanted to do. I gave him lots of yums. So I treated him like a king the rest of his life. Whenever I had salad, I'd give him fresh stuff. I feel bad for a lot of them, because most of them will get adopted by a kid, and then that kid will just mistreat them still for theirself for the rest of their lives. So I guess if they're at least adopted by an adult, the adult can at least, treat them better, I guess. Oh, they're young adults now. How long do those type live? Yeah, you feel sorry for them, because it's like they're either going to end up with kids, or just die there after being, tapped on the glass a million times. Feels bad.
I feel like they don't, like, what do they do with ones that get a little too old? You know?
Okay, so did I tell you this story? Jason and I were at a PetSmart, and one of the robos, his leg was like ripped. It was like ripped off. Like he was bleeding everywhere, right? In the cage. And I was like, I went and told someone. And then they're like, oh God, okay. And then they like took him out, and I don't know what they did with him. Like, I feel like they just took him to the back and stomped him. Like, I was like, should I have said anything? Like, because I think I had said, oh, I'll take him home and I'll take care of him. And they're like, no, you can't do that. And they're probably right. I probably shouldn't have. But, so they couldn't sell him. But it's like, how often does that happen? It's another reason why I don't like PetSmart. At least the Petcos we know of, they're good people work there. You know?
Yeah.
That's fantastic, Serenity. An in-store vet? How rare is that? That's incredible. That makes me feel at least a little bit better about your pet store. I feel like ours are never like that. I always wondered about that pet store in Brookfield. Remember?
Which one? Brookfield?
Yeah. Yes, you
Oh,
do.
yeah, I know that.
Well, I hope they're right. I mean, if they got a vet on board, it'd be stupid not to. Bruni! You're driving me crazy right now. Poor Butters. Alright. Come here, Butters. Come here. Wait, I don't have your towel. Hold on. Butters, don't get comfy yet. Don't get comfy yet. Gosh. Hold on. You gotta put down your towel first. I know. Hold on. I'm struggling. I dropped some stuff on the floor. Hold on. Honey, just go to bed. Alright, hold on, Butter. Butter, come here. Hold on. Let me do this first. Okay. Alright, come here. Ready? Oh. Goodness. You good? Yeah. You happy? How you doing? You just tired? Oh, no, Eliza, I'm sorry. You did Chancho today? Oh. Dunk, poor Butters. She's okay. It wasn't as bad as it sounded, believe me. Gabe, Serenity did Chancho today. I'm going to look, Serenity. Oh, is he not up yet? Ah! Way to tease. Bruni's being naughty right now.
Bruni?
The one thing I hate about posting all my pet pictures is all the, like, what do you call it? The advertising people. Hello, you're so cute. You want to buy our stuff and model for us and blah, blah, blah. We'll send you a free bandana. It's like, get away from me.
Bandana, wow.
Bruni, get out from under there.
Bruni?
She's just standing under me. She's tired as hell. She just doesn't want to admit to going to bed yet. Because she's a toddler. And Butters is already asleep. Oh, up on Monday? Okay. Smart. Yeah, don't post on Fridays or Saturdays. Usually that's like, why? Like if I ever post on a Friday or Saturday, it's probably because I don't really care about what I'm posting, which is fine. You know, you can post filler stuff and see what happens. But like, yeah, I just don't really get much out of posting Friday and Saturday. Like, no one's here. Sunday, though, I've gotten a decent response sometimes, so that's not bad. Gabe, it probably is time for them to eat. Like, the chicken's probably done. This part's gonna be a little bit time consuming. It's up to you. I don't want to ruin whatever, you know, schedule you've got. Of course I'd love to see you, but it's totally up to you. God, the millet's gonna take forever. I should have probably, what's the word, done this to it. I'm gonna actually retrofit this now. Or I'm gonna like fade it into a, kind of an amalgam shape. And then over there I think I can just kind of hint at it. Because drawing, like, this always drives me crazy when people are like, oh my god, there's so much detail. And it's like someone's just drawn circles a million times, but it's like the piece overall doesn't look that good. You have to know how to dial your detail, or else it's just gonna get too muddy with detail. And people who say, oh, it's got so much detail, they typically don't know what they're talking about. So a lot of the time it's better to just hint in other areas at the detail that keeps going. So like these, since they're in the foreground, if I do them, say, really dark, you won't see the detail as much, which is probably a good thing. And then you're focused on this, you know, at the time. So let's do that instead. So all you gotta do is do half like the shapes and stuff and kind of hint that they're there, but you don't have to actually draw them. Bruni, Papa's making noms. You hear him? And then these other ones, I can just kind of hint in the back, and then maybe I can actually just block those out. Don't start crying. Papa's getting you food. Yeah, kind of like that. I wonder if there's a millet leaf that I could work in. Bruni, go see Papa. Papa has noms. Chimkin. Don't you want Chimkin? Go get the Chimkin. I post what I feel like. Eh. I can support that. Divine God, thank you for the follow. And he's up on Discord right now. Oh man. Let's go see. Oh, Serenity. He's so surly. He's very fox-like, isn't he? When you started drawing him, weren't you like, he's kind of fox-like? It's so weird. He's like a mix of a fox and a bear, and Butters feels like a mix of a fox and a wolf, which is crazy. At least to me. Bernie, why are you out here? Papa's making you food. Go see Papa. Noms. He was fun to draw, isn't he? He's a silly one. I think you did a great job. Yeah, he's actually kind of anti-dog-like. Same with Butters. Like, knowing how much I know about drawing pets, they are kind of weird looking. It's kind of hard to get their stuff down because, like I said, they're more close to like bears and wolves and stuff with how their noses are, how their ears are. It's kind of strange. I'm gonna add in some spray leaves here and then some little sprigs. I'm gonna hear Bruni breathing and gurgling while she's out here. Really? Bruni was the easiest? That's crazy. Thank you for drawing our pups. That was very sweet of you. I don't know why you're waiting on me. Papa's got your food. Gabe, do you want to call her in?
Right. Right.
Noms. Yams? Chimkin? Want Chimkin? Yeah, we say Chimkin now. Because she keeps crying out here.
Right.
Go to Papa. Or say chicken.
Chicken? Rooney, you want the chicken?
Chicken. Here she goes. This is one of those things too, it's like even people that are used to seeing millet sprays, they're not going to look at this and be like, that's not what that looks like, because it's in the wild. And I doubt many people, even those that use millet sprays, have even seen them in the wild. So I'm not too worried about accuracy on this. I'm just more worried about how it looks. So... what was that? They absolutely did. Of course. It was so nice of you to even want to do it, Serenity. Thank you. Hey, hey. Oh. So Chancho always barks at dinner time, so I'm gonna actually mute it until he's done. If you have a question though, I'll unmute it and whatever, but I don't want you to hear he has a shrill bark, so. It's really loud though. I don't know if other people are the same way. Okay, it's not barking right now. Alright, I'm gonna actually switch over, I think, to doing the ink wash right now, so we can see how bad I mucked that up. I'm not used to doing the thank you, Serenity. This wispiness, so I'm gonna be learning as I do this. I'll do the other millet sprays later. I don't feel like doing them right now. Pretty sure I can do them at a later time. What am I hearing right now again? Oh my god. Does somebody have like a speaker on? Do you hear it? Weird. I hear like a speaker outside. It's really weird. Alright, Butters, you gotta go eat dinner, okay? You gotta go eat dinner. Woo! Chancho, go get dinner. Oh my god. Okay. So, I'm not going to actually look at a picture of Cucui to get this because I think, I mean, I've seen him enough times to know. Though the back of him's pretty ghostly. And I know he has kind of white around his eyes. This isn't watercolor paper either, so it might actually backfire pretty hard. But you can't really find toned watercolor paper. It's like you gotta make it yourself or something else. Okay, I'm gonna look at one picture of him maybe. I do have one up. But as long as I don't get it too wet, it should be okay. I have a paper towel with me to kind of wisp it even more so, kind of like I wanted to. He has white around his eyes. So I want to keep that. And then his ears are still pretty dark. Yeah, I can see why you'd be scared. At the same time, though, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, F it. Because, like, if it turns out good, then I can sell it. So I don't want to be drawing something that I don't think is good. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure if I'm drawing something, I'm spending time on it, like, at least the base is good. But, like I said, that's just me. There you go. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And then I use my fingers a lot when it comes to ink wash, honestly. I love that the smudge effect it gives. It feels a lot more raw, a lot more dirty. And I feel like if you're using ink and you're doing an ink wash, you're kind of expecting some sort of like harshness, you know? So I totally dig it. And I think it especially helps when you're doing fur. You know, because it blends it, but it also gives this texture you can't otherwise really get. So I highly suggest just using your finger sometimes. I'll probably go back with some white at some point and kind of wisp it out too, so he's got a couple colors in there. Yeah, and then I'll go through once it's dried a bit and get another layer in there of something. Let's see. I'll probably make those actually white. This part can be pretty dark. This one here. I think I'll make the skin that's on this white, so I'll get that in the next round. I'll probably still post this tonight just because I'm okay if it doesn't get well received or whatever. It's just, I think timing on this matters more because he passed yesterday, so I don't want to wait too long. I mean, unless this turns out really good, then I'll wait. If it's just gonna be whatever, I'm okay with that. FW. It's the same brand that Wiley Beckert uses. Their white is really good. If you saw my post from yesterday, it's that white. It's usually, like, if you use it appropriately, it's really seamless. It's a really nice white. I love this effect. It's kind of like a choppy, like wispy. Ugh, I love it. It works really well. It's basically what I was hoping for. And then if I want them to stick out more, I can obviously go behind a lot of these, because I can see where it ends. So I could go behind it and add some white to make it pop if I want to. Since he's really dark around these areas. All the way up here. It's weird to be doing my own pet portrait for a change. It's a special occasion though. It's a celebration of life. I can take an hour or two out of my day to do a little memorial piece for my little baby. My little man. And we, like I said, we buried him out back with a little stone. I drew his little picture on it. I feel like ink wash is simultaneously really simple, but looks more impressive than it is, I guess. Bruni, can I help you? What do you need, honey? Oh, this doesn't look as good as it could. It's true. I just never get to do it. And I don't want to say I never should be doing it, but that guilt, man. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating when I say I have so many commissions I have to get done right now. Like that, working on anything that's not those. I even have another like freelance project I'm supposed to be working on, and whenever I'm working on that, I'm upset I'm not working on the portraits and vice versa. So the fact I'm working on something right now that's neither of those things is slightly driving me insane. But, like I said, I'm trying to tell myself this is important too. You know? But it's like, it's that fear that if you get somebody yelling at you, where's my portrait, where's my portrait? And I'm like, you know, do I tell him my hamster died and I had to do a portrait of him? Like, you know, it's not like you can just say that crap to someone. Luckily, I have gotten to a bit of a checkpoint with him, so I don't want to say I'm catching up. I'm not catching up yet, but it's getting a little bit better. Oh, I see, Serenity. Steve! Thanks for the raid! What's up, man? How we doing? I'm gonna make that white. Hello, everybody! I'm trying to remember where my lines are. Oh, Liza. I mean, if you want, start the day over if you can. Sometimes that does work. I had a day like that recently. Felt good to kind of redo it. Sometimes you need to. Sometimes, you know, it's not up to you if the day's working or not. How's your stream, Steve? God, I love that effect. God, this camera. I'm so sorry, you guys. My cameras and my lighting lately, I don't know what's going on. I think it's because the sun's behind me so hard. It's making just everything else just crap. What's that effect? It's so good. Use your fingers with ink, guys. Get messy. Super fun. Oh, good. Take care of Babby. Go do it, man. #1 dad. Oh, I feel you though, Serenity. Those things are so good. When I'm trying to be better, I'll try to like figure out a like a substitute that does kind of the same thing those things would do, you know? So instead of a coffee, I'd probably have a tea, and then like if I want chocolate, maybe either eat dark chocolate or find like a Nilla wafer or something that's less calories. I don't know. I try to do things better, but sometimes you just gotta. Like if you've had a really hard day, I'm kind of that guy, like just make yourself happy. You can fix it again later, you know? It's one of those things. Yeah, take care, Steve. Thanks again. Did you really, Eliza? Oh no. Has work been getting harder? Is that what's going on? Or is it just a tough day? That makes sense, Serenity. Can you take a nap? Or try to? Oh man, I didn't even like block in this seed. Oh, do you let them kind of fly around the house or apartment?
Hey,
Oh my god. Oh, cute, Serenity. Oh, yeah. Eliza, no, I'm glad you at least realized that and took your leave. Some people won't and they'll just wait till they snap. I think you did the smarter thing. I think that's important. Little things are just as important as big things, man. I totally get you. Honestly, Eliza, would it kill you to just give up Inktober right now? Like, sometimes that feels really good. I know it sounds really bad, but sometimes if you're having trouble, like, give up something that's, you know, just attributing to more pain, you know? So honestly, it's probably better for you that you don't right now, with all the stuff you have going on. I don't know. I was so pressured to do Inktober this year too, so I told myself, don't do it, you have way too much other crap to do. And then now I'm only doing it like when I feel like, yeah, I've got some time, I'll do it now. And it feels a lot better. Like, some things you just can't force yourself into anymore. Social media is really destroying art, I believe. In my opinion, it's destroying, like, the feelings that we have to make art. You know, we're making art for the wrong reasons nowadays. You know, some people do it just for likes, more fan art, everything, just nothing original or from the heart anymore. So I feel like taking breaks from social media is good. I feel like walking away, you know, from the monthly challenges is good. Do one once in a while, you know. You don't have to do it every single month. I know you love to, but I think it would be really good for you, especially right now, to not do as many as you have in the past. Like, when was the last time you took a week off from drawing? Eliza, sometimes you really need to decompress from art even too. So have you ever had the thing where you take a break from art and you go back to it and you've actually leveled up? And it's like, what? How am I this good right now? I didn't draw for a week. Sometimes it's because your brain, I think about it like it's defragmenting a computer. So you're resting, so your brain finally has time to, instead of shoving everything on the shelves as fast as it can, it's actually taking them back down, organizing them, and figuring out, you know, more of a swift, efficient way of getting from A to B in your brain, instead of just like this muddled thing. So when you take time off for it to actually rest and recoup and reorganize, then you go back, and it's almost like you can do art easier and better because it kind of compiled everything you know and what you've learned lately. Exactly. And especially rest. You know, serenity's right, and just resting in general is so important. I should take my own advice, but I don't have time to. But really, like, I think it's important, especially if you're having that feeling now. It's probably a red flag, and you should probably listen to yourself. You know, take the rest of the month off. Just stop. It's not failing, it's not giving up, it's not whatever. It's you have to. You know, just if you see it like you have to, it's just whatever. And sometimes you need to. But just don't see it as failing. Don't see it as quitting. I actually thought about that on the way home from the gym. I was like, why do people think about it as failing or quitting? Like, why isn't it just something completely different than those things? You know? Why does it have to be those? And yeah, there are some people that do quit or fail, I guess. Even then, failure isn't failing, really. You're just trying different things. And if it doesn't work, you try something else. It's trial and error. It's not failure. There you go. So think if you did that on a large scale. Think if you quit Inktober. Think if you just for a whole week didn't draw. I think you should honestly try it with how much you've been drawing constantly. Let's get a second opinion. Gabe, what do you think? Should Eliza like quit Inktober right now and quit drawing for a week?
Yeah, go play some video games or something.
I mean, really. And he wasn't even here for your talk about that you left work after like having a issue. You know?
I didn't even know that. Well,
Exactly. So we just say that because you are always working. You're always drawing. Take some time to just don't do anything. There's this stipulation that not doing anything is lazy or bad, but if you're always doing something, that can also be lazy and bad. You know? Like maybe you're getting lazy with your thought process, or, you know, you're working yourself too hard so you're making bad decisions. Then you're making lazy mistakes. So even if you're working sometimes, if you're overworked, it could be just as bad as not working at all. So you might as well take some time to rest. And make sure that, you know, when you start up again, that it's going to be, you know, of quality. Because otherwise, you know, it's just you're going to work yourself dumb. And you're going to just kill yourself ultimately. Exactly, but I even hate the word failure. It has such a bad connotation to it. You're just trying things. trying things means it could work or it couldn't. It doesn't mean it's failure. Failure's so ultimately, like, just the definite, you know? It's finite. It's like, well, that's the end of that. Fail. It's like, no. No. Failure is a terrible word. I don't think anybody should use failure. Honestly. This is so weird. The lighting on this is such crap. I'm so sorry. It does not look like this at all. Like in the camera. It's totally wrong. I don't even know what's going on. I'll have to figure something out next stream. It's just I go back and forth from digital and traditional. It's like I get back to traditional. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It also depends on the time of day I'm streaming and the sunlight. It's really stupid. But I've got 2 lights on it right now and it's still like this. I feel like we're at the point though we can't even rebrand the word failure. So it's like, don't even use the word, you know? It's like it's a bad word now. Anytime somebody hears it, they have certain feelings about it. Let's just not use it anymore. It's just, you tried something and it didn't work, try something else. No shame, you know? Yeah, now Bruni's sleeping real good. I want them to have a shadow, but I don't want to really connect to their ghostly forms. I want those to be on their own. Okay. But yeah, Eliza, I think you gotta quit. For a little bit, just quit. There's no shame in it. No one's gonna think different from you. Honestly, that's the other weird thing, too. Everybody thinks if they stop posting, you know, the world's gonna forget about them and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it's true. But they're not gonna unfollow you because you haven't posted or something, you know? Like, typically people unfollow if they see something come up and they don't like it anymore and it's been consistent to the point that they don't like it. You know? Like, someone I know that I followed for a while, like, they got to the point all their stuff was the same where I could almost predict the next thing they were gonna do, so I was like, I don't want to see that anymore. So the next time it came up, I was like, yep, that's what I thought it'd be, and I just unfollowed them because I was tired of it. But I would never be like, man, this person, out of all the 2,000 people I follow, this person doesn't ever update. I'm going to unfollow them. Like, that never happens. I mean, maybe if you're constantly thinking about them and maybe you're messaging them obsessively, maybe that, then you're like, fine, they never answer, I'm going to unfollow. But really, think about it. Like, taking a break isn't going to hurt anything. And I think people are even growing more and more understanding of, especially artists, taking kind of sabbaticals from social media, you know. But those might be bots, Serenity. That's the other thing. Just keep posting what you want to post and don't try to analyze, oh, when I did this, people unfollowed me. Just do what you want. Because, I mean, think if you had thousands of followers, like hundreds of thousands of followers, you're not even going to honestly notice if 2 people unfollow you. But, and you shouldn't care, and you should just keep going, you know? So whether you have 100,000 and 2 unfollow, or 2,000 or 100 and 2 people unfollow, F it, keep doing what you're doing. Let me use the white. Eliza, if you do Inktober, what's that going to do for you? I know you're kind of addicted to it. But really, like, what if it makes you snap one day? Like, you gotta be smart about this. This could be more serious than you think. Especially if you had to leave today. I mean, anything that you're adding on your plate might be another added stressor. So I would take the things off that aren't necessarily, you know, make or break important. And if that includes Inktober, you know, get wise about it. Make sacrifices for yourself. Like, unless it's helping you, but if it's adding more stress, don't do it. Yeah, but you see why this is a downward spiral? If everything's getting you down and then you start, like, forcing yourself to do the art, thinking it's the last thing you've got, and then it ends up, like, being bad, then you're gonna kick yourself more, you know, because now your art's bad too, so then you start thinking you're messed up. So I think you just need to break, and, like, Inktober, I feel like, is a good place for you to start. Butter's old lady bark.
Butters.
Yeah, Butters has a really funny bark. Eliza, I'm just afraid you're addicted. At this point, I'm actually afraid you're addicted. Like, do you get scared of not posting every day? Because I used to have that. I worked myself into this thing. I was posting for like 3 years straight. And I got to this point where I was so scared of not posting. And I didn't even have a legitimate reason. Like, it wasn't like, oh, people are going to unfollow me, blah, blah, blah. There's just this weird feeling like, oh my god, I have to post. I have to post. And I had to really break myself of that. That was really tough. But it's like the world didn't blow up, you know? Then you have to. Don't post anything today. Like, seriously, that means you're actually addicted. Like, I was in that too, and it sucks because you feel like you're a slave to it, and then, you know, you're not doing work you want to do. You're working because you feel you have to. I'm way too lazy to be addicted. Oh my god. Serenity, that's so funny though. Like, that sentence itself is hilarious. Exactly, you don't care about any of that, but you have this, like, weight where you feel like you have to post. It's just between you and you, yeah? And it's just this pressure you feel that you're almost, it's like a dread or a scared feeling, like, I need to post or else, and you can't even finish that sentence. You don't even know, but you're scared. Yeah? I'm gonna go back over parts of this. Yeah, so that's a bad thing. That's, honestly, that could be OCD. Think about it. And why is that pressure there? Like, what is that gaining you? And honestly, if you're burnt out, you're not making good art anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you're absolutely not gaining anything.
Maybe if it was your job.
Even if it's your job, it could be too much.
No, I'm saying even if it was your job, then there would be a reason to feel that dread. Like, oh man, if I don't post this, then I'm not gonna get paid. But like, it's literally like you're not getting paid to do this.
You want a 1,000-day streak? Why? Just to say you did it? But if you don't make those things into books, what'd it do for you? And okay, this is gonna sound bad, but honestly, who's gonna believe you? Like, a lot of the time if you say, oh, I did a 1,000-day streak, someone will either be like, no. And then what? Are you going to be the guy to actually whip out your phone to show them? Because that could look douchey.
But even if you whip out your phone, it's like, well, you could have drawn like 3 of these like on one day.
Yeah, like there's no way to actually take the time to prove it to them because a lot of people aren't going to stick around for that. I'm just saying it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth your health. It's not worth the stress, the extra stress you're adding. Because believe it or not, you are adding an extra thing you have to do every day. It's more for yourself. But I don't even get what you gain out of that. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm not a perfectionist anymore. Like, I was so lucky to get over that. But I did all these self-imposed things too. But then at one point I'm like, what's the deeper side of this? Like, why am I really trying to do this? Is it because I'm lacking in other areas where I'm trying to make this one, like, actually good? You know, like, usually there's a reason you're overshooting something. Or trying to do really extra well on something. Like, maybe if you're not doing so hot at work, you want to at least excel at something. You know, is it that sort of thing? All I'm saying is take a 1-day break.
Or just draw something really shitty. Draw an eyeball.
I just don't want her to draw at all for a little bit. You're the first person, Eliza, I think I've ever told don't draw today. Like, you draw so damn much. I really feel like you just need a break. Like, let's say, just hypothetically, you take today off, and maybe even tomorrow, whoa. But then the next day, you draw something, and let's say it's 10 times better than the past 20 things you've drawn in the past 2 months. Is that worth it? And then, like, everything from that point on is so much better than it would have been if you just kept going. Like, would you make that sacrifice? And it is kind of a gamble, I'll give you that. Like, there's no guarantee, but there is a chance because it's not going to happen if you keep going the rate you are. So the worst that can happen is that you still draw at the same level you are right now. The best that could happen is that you draw something like 10 times better than you would. You feel like you don't draw enough. That's a good feeling. I'm proud of you for that, especially since you draw like crazy. But you also have to be like, well, today I shouldn't draw as much. Like, what happens if you get injured? Do you still make yourself draw? That's really bad. You shouldn't do that if you're doing that. You know? And I'm so glad you draw a lot, but man, you do need a break once in a while. Everyone needs a break from something. The key to life is balance. Okay, if you're excessively doing anything, it's bad. If you exercise too much, it's bad. You know? Despite some health nuts you could talk to, it's bad. You can overexert yourself, you know, hurt your muscles more than for the long run than you can even exercise when you'd like to. Moderation and balance, man. I mean, rest assured, you still draw more than probably everyone we know. Except maybe some of Gabe's comic friends. But what if you are hurting yourself more than helping yourself? That's a valid concern. Alright, I'm gonna try putting some white marks here.
I wonder also if, is it more about posting every day, or is it about actually drawing every single day?
Yeah, Eliza, do you care if you post it?
Because I wonder if you just, if you drew a bunch of things, and then you just post them every day.
I was wondering the opposite. Yeah, you can't really force it, Serenity. Honestly, if you find yourself not excelling, usually that's more about like getting new influences in there and new ways of doing things. It might mean you're stagnant. If you become stagnant and you're not happy with where you're at and you've been drawing the same level for a while, you need to mix it up somehow. That's when a lot of us go on like trips or we go to a class. You know, we find some different inspirations, we meet new people, something like that. And I'm mentioning some that I don't do, obviously. But, hey, Buggles. Eliza, I think Gabe was saying, do you post them every day, or is it just about drawing every day? Like, do you care more about making sure you draw every day, or that you're posting what you draw every day? Is that Chancho? Hi, Kristen. How you guys doing? It's going.
When you said, like, is that Chow Chow?
Yeah.
I was like, who can it be now?
I'm so mad you've been on this 80s like playlist kick.
So good. 80s music was so good.
You're so late to the party, it's
I
not
know.
even funny.
The 80s music was so good.
It was pretty good. That's why Gary's so impressive.
Yeah.
He's always been good. Okay, so Eliza, you're trying to prove something with the posting then, yeah? Okay, you don't have to tell me this, or Gabe, or anybody else, but you should go down the why train, I call it. Start with, I draw every day, and be like, why? Because I want to get better at art and blah, blah, blah. Why? Keep going down that, because usually you get to a universal truth about yourself, and then you can figure out if what you're doing is superficial or not, or good for you in the long run. And I feel like so many people don't even do this with things they do in their lives. Like, it's important to know the intention of something, why you do things, you know? Oh yeah, so Serenity, when did you officially start seriously drawing? Let's call it that. That's good, Buggles. So the streaming has held you accountable. That's awesome. The Y train is like W-H-Y. Like, you know, why am I doing it? Why is this? Because some people just do things like systematically, habitually, addictively. So, you know, it's like, let's say somebody's a drunk. I drink every day. Why? Because alcohol makes me feel better. Why? Well, because people at work suck. Why? Well, because don't like talking to them. And, you know, eventually you get down to this point where it's like, oh, maybe I should be a little bit better at work and blah, 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 and I won't drink to hide things. You know, stuff like that. Yeah, that's really sad, Buggles. I'm sorry you got bullied into stopping. That should have never happened. I can't believe kids would do that. Honestly, the bullying was probably out of jealousy. If they were bullying you for drawing, it's because they were mad they couldn't draw at the level you were. So it's kind of sad they won then. If you stop drawing because of that, that means they won. So you definitely have to draw now. Spite them.
Wait, was this recent?
I don't think so. She said she's 37, so. But you gotta get back to drawing then, just, you know, get back at it. That's right, he does. So does every professional artist you will ever talk to. Because what's the point of quitting, especially if you like doing it? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so then technically, I mean, you started way after a lot of us. Like, I had been drawing since I was always, since I could. So, yeah, you're starting a little bit late, so you have to be a little bit more, not only lenient on yourself, but you have to be realistic with how much do you get to draw a day. Well, you have a day job, you have a family to take care of, this, that, or the other thing. Well, you can't be mad at yourself then because you don't get like a full day to draw. Some of us that now are freelance have worked our asses off doing so many other things to get to this point, and now we're at this point, and there's no easy way to really get to it. And once you get there, it's still not easy. In fact, it's harder, which is something I ended up learning pretty recently in the past 2 years, I think. I quit my career to do something I still haven't done yet. I'm hoping next year's the start of it, but there's no guarantee, you know? That's the other thing with freelance, there's no guarantee. I mean, finding a full day to draw when you have a full-time job, that's rare. Like, I had to force myself to be able to do that Saturdays and Sundays, the weekend warrior thing, where you only get to do it on weekends. Like, I had to take that and extrapolate that to do it every night when I got home to actually, it's that analogy I gave last time where if you want to jump ship, you have to start building the new ship that's your ship while you're on an old ship, right? And that means putting in weeknights, and whenever time allows it, you're doing it. It sucks. So that's interesting, Eliza. So quitting back when? When did you quit? Because that actually is a huge psychological thing for you. And this is the whole guilt with failure and quitting thing. You have to be nicer to yourself and realize it's not failure and it's not quitting. Sometimes you need to just readjust things, right? Because maybe you've outgrown this like a long time ago. Gabe and I think you've outgrown it. That's just our opinion with how long we've known you. But I think you're still trying to prove that you can do it to your old self instead of realizing what your new self needs now. And that's the why train and think about where you're at now and what your goals are now that they weren't back then. Because back then you're probably just like, I want to draw every day, and then you weren't able to. So now you're trying to make up for that, but maybe now is not the time for that. Maybe you're doing the right thing at the wrong time, you know? So yeah, it's important. Weekends at night. Yeah, Serenity, I could see why that's frustrating, definitely. Well, yeah, and you're pregnant, Kristen, but your situation's different because technically you have another income stream. So, like, if I didn't have Gabe and I had to stop for whatever reason, that means I don't eat. So there's a little bit more of a strain there, I feel like. I'm not trying to downplay your situation, but I am being realistic about the fact that you do have 2 incomes. He does make a good amount of money. So there's that. But it is nice, especially that, you know, you're pregnant, that you can take time off if you're feeling that. That's super nice. And I'm sure you were a totally different person, Eliza, when you were in college, right, than you are now? Like, your mindset's completely different, your goals are different. So, I mean, that's important to take into account too.
Hell, even your geographic location was different.
Yeah, that too. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha, Kristen. Yeah, if it's not their full-time job, they should definitely take time off because you're learning how to do it a lot. You know? You're not at the point Gabe and I are where if you don't create, you don't eat. That sort of thing. So if you're not there, definitely take breathers. You know, it's think of it like Gabe and I are running a marathon right now where you guys are training for a 5K. You know? You have to run a little bit, take a day off, let your legs heal, whatever. Right now we're Olympians and we're trying to go, balls out for a long period. Because we already did the other stuff. So it's you gotta think of it in analogies like that, or else that's where the comparing can really hurt you. You'll be trying to be an Olympian when you don't even run like a 5K, It's like that's really it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like if you think about it like that, like you're not trained for it. Kristen's completely right. Take your days off. Take time to, learn about you and what you're doing, if it's right, if it's wrong, how it feels. Because even when you get here, if this is your ultimate goal, you still wonder, well, okay, I'm here, but is this the exact place I want to be? Like, that's why Gabe's dabbling in toys. That's why I have, my stories that I've been trying to get to. Mine's kind of a longer, I don't know what you want to call it, longer trek than just, jumping into something. Mine requires eventually getting, like, what's the word? Networking and junk. And luck. Honestly, it's a lot of luck. But for luck to happen, you need to put yourself in situations where luck can happen. But yeah, Eliza, I hope that helps a little bit. I do just think that you might need some time off, man. Be nice to yourself, It might do so much better for you. You might come back next week and be like, oh my god, I took 3 days off, it was the best day of my life, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess I'm also curious, do you take things day by day or do you think about them in the long run, like a week in advance? Gonna ride that train. Good, yeah, get real with yourself. So you're afraid if you stop even for a day that it's gonna drag out and you're gonna get lazy? I don't think so. I don't think you could do that. And if it did, maybe you need it. I don't know. I don't think you could ever stop, though, fully. I don't know. I couldn't see you actually stopping altogether. I think you'd get an itch again, because it is, I think, somewhat of an addiction currently for you. That, like, you need to feed the need, So, like, if, let's say you took today or tomorrow off, Sunday you'd be like, oh my god, I gotta draw something. I don't think you could get rid of that. And you don't plan for anything. Honestly, I'm going to say you have the same kind of problem Gabe has. Gabe, up until this year, was not able to work on any long-term projects that were his. Like, he's still struggling to do it right now, but he is so used to just doing little one-offs to feel like you're progressing a little bit all the time, instead of standing still working on something, and then when it's done, you leap ahead. It's kind of the tortoise and the hare, if I think about it. But yeah, Gabe really has this problem, do you not?
100%.
100%.
And it's
So to get out of it, he's technically trying to do this webcomic, which amounts to a bigger thing, right? But what sucks is he has 3 stories he's done over Inktober's that they're basically done. They're like at what, 75, 80%? You would just need to polish them and print them? But no one gets to see him because he can't do that last bit of it, you know? So, you know, we all have our own things we're working on, but maybe that's more the thing, Liza. Maybe you should plan for something bigger. Maybe you have that feeling like I gotta do a little bit of something every day, but you don't have anything huge, like a big project, you know? Maybe a big project could help. Maybe. I don't know. Just thinking. Finding it hard to care about something for that long. I think then you would, if you wanted to attempt it, you'd have to find something that you could commit to, and then, you know, then turn your every little bit a day into going towards that bigger project. And, you know, you're already used to finding something about everything you're doing, like, to love, right? I'm sure you're used to that now. So your mind is already primed for a project, really. Because projects have that problem where, you know, you get to one, you're like, I don't feel like doing this right now. But you either have to find something about that thing that day to like about it, so you can actually get into the zone, or you choose a different part of the project to work on that you feel like working on that day. But yeah, in your case, it would be something like, I want to figure out what to actually work on for that long. But Eliza, you've worked on big things before. You did Journey June twice. That's not your dailies. I know it was masked that way, but it wasn't. You did a big project twice. Think about it. Well, yeah, that's the thing, Serenity. It's kind of like getting into a relationship. You can't see that far down the road where it's like, am I still going to love this person in a year? But I think that's part of, you can't do a long-term project until you build up to it. So Eliza, I'm saying, like, since you're used to dailies, maybe start something that's a weekly, you know? Maybe do something that, you don't do something every day for it, but you work up to something that, you know, took you a week, you know, let's say. So that you get used to bigger things, and then eventually you can do big projects. Because that fear of starting a big project is because you haven't done a big project before. It's totally natural. So the only way to get to the point of being able to do a big project is to work more and more on things that take longer and longer. So, and I think that's the next step. After dailies either get too easy or they're kind of starting to amount to nothing, you know, and you're kind of stagnant. Remember what I say about stagnancy? It's a bad thing. So mix it up. The only problem is you gotta take time to plan and figure out what you want to do for that, you know, next big thing. Which that part can be hard. But it has to be something you're immediately excited about. Like when Gabe thought of his kaiju comic, he is immediately excited about it. And, you know, you have to play with the idea a little bit before you even start executing it. So this is the whole 80% planning, 20% execution thing. It's a good thing to live by, honestly, in any art, whatever, life, anything. Plan 80% of it, execution 20%. Don't execute too early. So in this case, let's say you figure out a kind of neat, okay, let's see, a weekly webcomic. Let's try that. It's not quite daily. It's weekly, but it's not yearly. Let's try that. And then you think, you're like, all right, I gotta think of an idea. What things do I like more than other things in the world? Like, if I could draw something all the time, what would it be? What gets me excited? And then once you think about that, be like, okay, let's say it's, Brave Little Toaster came to mind. You're writing a webcomic about the Brave Little Toaster, so you're like, oh, and there's all these like appliances that could have different, you know, personalities based on what they are. Like a, you know, old vacuum, he's grumpy, blah blah blah. And then in searching and expanding on that idea, you find what's exciting about it to you, or what sucks. There was an idea we were exploring recently, and we got maybe 5 minutes into it, and you're like, no, that's stupid. Well, let's not do that. And you'll feel that way. If there's no escalation with thinking about that topic, then there's no excitement. Don't pursue it. If you find something you get excited about, and I don't care what it is, maybe it's fast food depictions, I don't know. Maybe every week you eat somewhere new, and you just want to draw it and write a stupid little commentary about it. Whatever, if it's fun, do it. And if you get excited about every time that week, oh, it's time to do the thing, great. And you're going to have weeks you're not, but if overall you can find something about it to like, that's important. Oh, Serenity. I bet if you went down the Y train, though, Serenity, for each of those relationships, you'd probably come to a universal truth that you do or get to a certain point in those relationships where you shut down, or where they get to a certain point with you, or they do something you don't like. There's got to be something in there that's a reason for it, you know? Especially if they're abrupt. And I mean, if you come to that truth, maybe it's applicable to your work life, like how you go about your art. And if so, then you've run into a really good situation, because then you could apply that problem in that situation and answer to your art life. So it's good to just feel it out, you know, see what happens. I kind of feel dumb now. So for those coming in, like Kristen and stuff, my hamster died yesterday. That's the point of this stream. And so I wanted to do a little memorial to him, and the fact that he was a very rhythmic Hamu and was able to keep rhythm on his wheel is why I chose to make him a death drummer. Plus his name was Cucui, so that's the Mexican boogeyman. So I thought it was fitting. Yeah, it's okay. He was a sweetie. Here's the video. Here's the video. Now watch it. So far it's about power struggle. Yeah? So you might need someone who you both can be independent, but when you come together you have things to share. Maybe something like that? Well, feel free to, Eliza. I'd love to know if you come to any, like, you know, like if you have an epiphany or something. You're like, oh my god, this thing, I need to do this thing. But yeah, I'm sorry you're not awake. But I really wish you'd take a nap instead of drawing. The him was making you sad? He's a good one, though. He had a really good life. Okay? I gave him so many yums. Yep. So, Serenity, I'm basically the same, but, I mean, I'm always around Gabe, but, in the past, I've always been the same, where it's like, I want you sometimes, but not all the time, you know. In that case, you want somebody who's similar, who, you know, maybe you want someone then who's kind of addicted to their job, you know, but would like to hang out sometimes, so that, you know, they're gone for a lot of it, but once in a while you guys can come together and actually, like, hang out, you know, have a good time, whatever. I don't know, date a paramedic. Why is it like, nah? What is the part it's fighting? Like, what is it telling you? But Eliza, if we don't do this, we're not gonna get the... you know, whatever it is. What is it nagging you about? God, I feel like a therapist. It's kind of fun, though. I like asking people questions. I like people asking me questions. I like questions in general, because I feel like the more questions you're asked, you learn about yourself quicker. So I always like when people ask me questions and when I get to ask them questions, because it's really cool to see somebody find out something, you know? Those are magic moments. Dating is for people's social skills. I agree. I think what you need isn't dating. I think you need to make friendships first. You're like me. We don't date. We get friends, and if we get close to them and we don't push them away or they don't push us away, we're like, maybe I could live with you. You're pretty okay. And then you date. I've never actually cold dated anyone. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what, hey, get her number, blah, blah, blah. I don't know anything about that. I've never been asked out, like, by somebody I didn't know. All my relationships, I've known the person for months, you know, and we've hung out and stuff for months. Like, you're friends first, you know, and I think you're the same way. Because I'm scared to death of strangers. People, you can know people for years and not know them. That's the weirdest thing. That's kind of what happened with me and my ex-husband. That sounds so weird. I always sound so old when I say ex-husband. Not that old. But it's like I knew him for years, and then all of a sudden I didn't know him. He had this other side to him. It's really weird. Yeah. And I mean, anybody can have that. Like, I could have seen that we kept going for like 20 years, and I still didn't know him. You know? But I thought I did. It's really strange, because you can really think you know somebody. You think you know a guy. Like, honestly, I even wonder about that sometimes with Gabe, because I get paranoid of the other relationship. And I'm like, maybe Gabe's, you know, different than I think he is. But then I come back down to the fact that, no offense to Gabe, but he's pretty simple and straightforward. And that's one of the reasons I love him. He's not the type to hide things, you know? Like, you're simple and straightforward, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact we can give each other hard critique, that's another thing I like. We can be completely honest and be like, yo, I'm being a bitch today, you're being a jerk, you know, what's going on? Like, our last fight was similar to that. where it's like, okay, you're being a dick, what's going on? And then we open up. Like, that's probably the best kind of relationship you can hope for. Just where you can be that brutally honest and open. And, you know, honestly, Serenity, it is better to be suspicious of people, in my opinion, than non-suspicious. Like, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but that doesn't mean that I trust them immediately. Like, it takes me a while to trust somebody. I'm with you. Totally get that. But... oh, see, I don't have a direction now for this. Kind of at this point where it's like, I could move on to the background, and I'm like, True, Buggles. There you go. You know what's up. I mean, those of you in the Discord, you probably saw me talking to the Starbucks guy that recently joined our Discord. And he's having some trouble with just friendships. It's like, it doesn't even have to be like a relationship, you know? You gotta protect yourself first and foremost. And I mean, if people aren't who you thought they were, or if they become someone you don't want to be around, you let them know. If they don't want to change and they like who they are, you move on. Because they're no longer what you want. There's no point in staying around then. Like, if you look at it really logically, it should be kind of helpful. Friendships are extremely hard, Eliza, especially when you get over 30. Like, I hit 30, and I had people I thought were friends, they ended up not being friends, and now it's just kind of me and Gabe, and when you get older, your family become your friends. That's why a lot of people have kids, because they're making their own friends then. Granted, they do, some of them still have adult friendships and stuff, but if you want an adult friendship when you're older, it's hard. It's exactly like dating for a lover. You have to date for a friend. You have to find out their likes, dislikes, what their schedule's like, their past, are they compatible with you? Like, it's the same process, and it's time consuming. So if you're a busy person, you do not have time to date for a friend. So then you end up being like, oh, I wish I had friends. I wish I had time for friends. And then if you're me, you get to a point you're like, no, I don't. Like, right? There's some days I'm like, oh man, I want a friend. And then don't I kind of talk myself out of it? Yeah. Like, because it's like, that's, if I have 3 hours of a block of time, would I want to spend it with a friend or something else? And it's 100% of the time always something else. Like, it's not that important to me. Like, if I have free time, there is something I always go to. That it's like, my passions take the cake. And this is why I'm not good for parental status. I wouldn't be a good parent. I wouldn't give them the time because they wouldn't be my priority. I don't care enough about kids. Yeah, even if they're mine. I'm not a good parent. So if anybody ever gives me like, oh, you should have kids. Yeah. I'm like, you don't want me to be a parent. I don't want me to be a parent. I'd be the type of parent you hear about that, you know, doesn't do the right things for their kids. It's like, well, why did they have kids? Because someone like you pressured them. You know? It's like, don't pressure people who don't want kids, because they probably know they don't want kids. It's weird. That's pretty rare, Eliza. So here's another question. Are they your high school friends still because it was convenient and they became friends out of convenience? Or is it because you share compatible things like your interests and all that? Because if it's interests, that's good. That means that you guys found out early on what you all liked and you stayed with it and you still like the things you liked. Totally valid. But if you're still friends out of convenience, that can be an issue, and that can incite drama. Because then you feel obligated to these people because of time, but not necessarily because you care about them. Does that make sense? I like to parent two people that don't ask for it. I'm the person that gives advice when no one wants it. And that's cost me some friendships too. But the people that understand that my intentions are good, you know, that those people understand me. So those people stick around. They know I'm trying to help. And if they really don't want it, they'll be like, Ashley, not right now. Not now. I don't want it. And I'm like, okay, turn it off. That's all you gotta do. Just hear people. That's why I've heard Buggles. Yeah. I mean, I think of it, I know it's bad, but I think of it like pets. Like if you, like, oh, I want a dog. But then you have to research and look at all the things about the dog breed you want and all the things it entails, and it has to keep saying yes in your mind. And you have to, a month later, think the same thing, sit on it a while. Any decision that's a big life decision, sit on it. And be like, a month later, if you can say yes to all those things again, then you probably do really want it. But if it wavers or if you want to impulsively do something, that's not usually a good basis to do it. If she was single and gay. Aww. See, that's great then. You still have, like, legitimate, valid friends. That's extremely rare. I always wonder, though, about the people that end up dating, like, their high school boyfriend or something forever. And I'm like, did you just stay together because it was easy? Or do you guys actually like each other? Like, I always wonder about that. Dr. Nicto, thank you for the follow. But that's super good, Eliza. I think that's actually the basis of probably, like, knowing you're in a good friendship, you know? If you can say things like that, I think that works really well. Oh, come on, music. What is this? No chanting right now. It's totally not the mood. I mean, it is the mood, but, you know, not right now. I think on the days I'm actually craving more friends, I just have to probably hang out with Gabe more. Because honestly, I'm probably just craving that camaraderie. And it's like, you know, I should just go up to Gabe and be like, hey, you want to hang out, play a board game? Because that's probably all it is, you know. Honestly, nothing's forever, Serenity. Really. Right? So if you, like... It's so weird. I mean, people have different concepts, it sounds stupid, of forever. You know? It's forever until we change. Or until this happens. Or... It's really weird. Because, I mean, that's just how divorce happens, too. It's really strange. Because I honestly didn't... I feel so dumb. I didn't even think of forever when I got married. You know? It just felt like it was a more advanced dating scenario. You know? It's harder to back out of, and that feels more adult. It feels like you're entering a contract. So it's like you can't just up and leave all, you know, whatever. And it's going to be different for other people. Some people shouldn't get married. They're not built for it. That's fine. We know some people who are polyamorous. That's their thing. They, you know, if that's what makes them happy, let them do it, whatever. Maybe they want to be polyamorous and get married. Okay, that's their thing. Let them do it. It's the same problem we have with the school system. It's like thinking everyone learns the same or everybody can be graded the same. It's a ridiculous concept. I mean, why do we want standards to judge people anyway? What's the point of that? It should just be, if you can do the job I need you to do, cool. Like a degree proves that. Half the people I know who got degrees for animation in college don't know how to animate. Gabe, you back that up?
You know,
It's so
say
weird.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, they don't know how to animate and they can't even draw, a lot of them. So it's like, why did a degree matter? And this is why art institutes are failing. Oh, Serenity, you can ask Gabe that. So Gabe was in a 15-year relationship out of convenience. And he was also abused pretty mentally. So that didn't help. And I think it's also because you didn't know what a good relationship was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Is all that correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gabe was in it for 15 years.
I mean, I don't want to push all the blame on her, but we were both like mutually. I think we were just old and we didn't realize that we shouldn't have been together.
You weren't old, though.
Uh,
You weren't
no,
old.
sorry, it's just the relationship was old. And
Oh, see, but that's the convenience thing.
that's what
It was
I mean.
more convenient for them to stay together than to actually be like, all right, we don't fit. Let's break up, split apart all the stuff, split apart all the money, find new places to live. It's so inconvenient, right? But, yeah, no. Except Gabe. I think you felt good when you left, right?
Yeah.
She didn't, though. But I'm sure she didn't even consider the fact it was out of convenience and not because she didn't love him. She was probably more mad that she was rejected by someone. Just in general, right? That's probably more the thing. It wasn't about you. She wasn't sad she was losing you.
I feel like she was probably upset that
It was just she was being rejected.
you know.
Because she was very egotistical. So the fact that she wasn't wanted by someone anymore, regardless of who that is, she got mad about it. Oh, Eliza, you gotta forgive them for that, though. And really, they're never gonna come around because that's their generation. And if they're really old, if they're a grandma, they're not gonna come around. It's pretty rare that a grandparent or somebody will adjust their thoughts and realize times have changed. That's why we have so many problems right now with voting and racism. But you just have to, tell her, Grandma, times have changed. It's okay. She's doing her thing.
I think that the thing you were saying about convenience also applies to parents or guardians or whatever, because they, sometimes your parents just don't, you can't be friends with your parents either, sometimes,
Yep.
So you gotta sort of like keep them at,
Arm's length.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents and you feel guilty about that just because you think you should, don't. Because you might not be compatible with your parents anymore or ever were. And that's okay. That's okay. The whole family is just blood thing is bullshit. It really is. I mean, anything in the world is what you make it, right? And that includes family. I just wonder if people think they missed out on something those 10 years. So, I actually find what you said also true in being in a career for 10 years and not necessarily liking it or thinking you're doing the right thing. So for Gabe, how we've kind of justified his 15 years is that it was waiting for this, and if he had dated somebody else in between or whatever, he may not have gotten this. And then you come down to, well, was 15 years worth what we have now? And usually he says yes.
Okay.
He'd say yes. And then for me, in terms of applying that to a career, I was in mobile games for 10 years. I left that completely to do something completely different. Do I feel like I wasted those 10 years? The first year I was out of it, yeah, I really felt like I did. But I'm still doing some freelance here and there where those 10 years helped me. And I can still lend my advice and expertise to other people who are going into that field. I can tell them what to be wary of and what to research ahead of time. So it hasn't been completely wasted. And I think that you should extrapolate that to other parts of your life where If you feel like some part of your life has been wasted, you have to, absolutely have to find something in there that was worth it. Because you can't just keep living being like, I wasted 10 years of my life. Oh my God, that sucks. I'm never going to get that back. Like, if you ruminate on that, that's not going to help you at all. Why? Why keep going thinking of that, right? The best thing you can do is like, okay, so most of that time I was learning this, I'm able to apply that to this. And if it doesn't apply at all, like, let's say you technically did waste those 10 years, though I still can't think of a situation where you wouldn't be able to use any knowledge that you got. There's going to always be a situation where you can use something that happened in 10 years of something for the future. There's no way you can't. So you just have to find that and focus more on that than the other side of it, like, oh, I wasted time. No time is wasted, right? I mean, even if you're being lazy sometimes, it's probably for a reason. As long as you're making calculated decisions, I guess. Exactly. I agree with Creech. Oh my God. If you look back on my first streams, I say that learning what not to do is just as important as learning what to do. Have I always said that?
Right.
It's not wasted, because yeah, and Creech is reiterating it here. It's important to learn what you don't like to do. That's why dating around is okay too. I don't like a person like that. That person doesn't work with this side of me. Blah, 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 blah. Dating around doesn't necessarily mean you're promiscuous. It might mean you're searching for a certain thing that clicks, you know? Because maybe you date someone that's into sports because you kind of like sports. You find out, oh, they're too into sports. That's not, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, and that's why we say too, there's no failure. Failure is the most rotten word ever. It means that nothing that happened was worthwhile. Does that ever happen? No. Failure doesn't exist. It's such a bad construct. I hate it. I'm so mad about it. Because you will always find something worthwhile even in failure. So is it a failure? No. Because you still found out something, and that's going to help you succeed, whatever that means, in the future. Anyway. That. Also, hey Creech. Welcome back. I'll probably be stopping in about 8 minutes here, just because I gotta get back to normal work and not drawing my dead hamster. So if anybody wants to talk about anything else real quick, or make any statements or questions or what have you. Thank you. Yeah, Eliza, you know where to find us. If you go down the Y train and you still have questions, you know I love helping you. And Gabe's here to help too. So if you think of anything and you're like, okay, but this, just message us, man. I'll gladly help. How does the Y train work again? Okay, let me think of a good example. So, let me think of a personal example so I can make it actually legitimate. Okay. So I don't want to draw. Let's try this. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't want to draw high art, or I don't want to be in spectrum. Why? Because I don't like spending hundreds of hours on anything. No, let me rephrase. I don't want to spend hundreds of hours on one thing, like one piece. I'd rather do many other pieces. Why? Because I have too many ideas that I want to get out, that just working on one piece would drive me stir crazy. Why? Because I have so many stories that I want to tell and I want people to enjoy them. Why? Because I want to make people happy. So that's kind of an ultimate truth. right? Or I want to bring them into my world because I feel like my world is important. I feel like my world is as important as any other world I've ever seen or read about. So I feel like other people would enjoy it. Let's see another one. Gabe, do you have one? Do you want to try it?
What, the thing?
Yeah, I can lead you through it if you want.
Sure.
Let's see. Is there anything... Okay, so why do you want to work on your webcomic, this new one?
So I can make lots of money.
That's not true. You got to be honest. That's the main thing, though, about this. You have to be completely honest with yourself.
I'm tired of working on other people's shit.
He's tired of working on other people's shit. Why?
Because I don't get to work on my own thing.
Because he doesn't get to work on his own things. Why?
Because I'm working on other people's shit.
Because he's working on other people's shit. So sometimes if you get into the cyclical thing, you're either not giving the right answer or that might be the answer. So he just wants to work on his own stuff. And it's true, Gabe's been working a long time on other people's things and never really on his own. And I've watched him day in, day out, 24/7. It's not because he's mismanaging time. He just works on other people's stuff all the time. As do I. And that's why this is such a thing for me. Like right now I feel guilty as hell. I'm not working on the 50 commissions on my commission board. But needed to do it.
But then I guess you could say, well, why do you want to work on your own things? Well, because
I already went down that.
Oh, you already said that one, Kristen.
Yeah. You're right here.
No, I was saying for me.
Oh. Do you want to keep going?
No, I mean, I already know the answers.
You do, they don't. You were an example.
What was your answer for why you want to work on your own things?
Mine came down to basically two. I want to make people happy, and I feel like the world I have to give people is just as important as any other world that exists right now.
It's funny because like I feel like people, not all people, but when you want to work on your own things, it's almost always selfishly.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I feel bad about that because it's definitely, for me, it's definitely like I want people to see what.
But here's the thing. Being an artist is selfish.
Yeah.
So after you realize that, it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you know, even if you're doing something you kind of deem bad sometimes, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, and as long as it's working in your favor, it's okay. Being selfish is not a bad thing. Okay? It's not. There's this terrible stigma to that too. Being selfish is not a bad thing. Judging people is not a bad thing. If it's to help yourself, okay? Like, if somebody's judgmental, I'm judgmental. I will look at somebody and figure out if they're a safe person, if it's good to be around them. Is that wrong of me to judge them like that? For my sake of safety? It's a primal thing. If you're judging somebody obviously on like their clothing, are they wearing Adidas or Nike? Oh, I'm not judging them on that. Yeah, that's stupid. That's superficial. But if you're judging them on a scale of, is this person going to hurt me? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, if that takes racial tones, that's probably bad. Don't be racist, okay? But if they look like they have a knife or a gun, take some precaution, you know?
They're wearing a specifically red hat with some writing on it.
Well, that's only if you know about that.
Yeah.
If you don't know it, you know, I don't know gang culture.
No, I was talking about
Oh.
America Great Again.
I mean, we could talk about that, I guess. I mean, I actually do judge someone who's wearing a MAGA hat. I honestly, like, and I saw an interview about this where a woman was wearing the hat and she wouldn't actually fess up to whether or not she is racist. And it's like, how many of us see somebody wearing a Make America Great Again hat and they're like, are you racist then? Like, is it the new Confederate flag? Like, you know? And even that, some people don't think that represents that stuff.
You know what's really weird though is when I went to Gen Con,
Yeah.
and I was waiting for my bus home, there's a black gentleman who came in and he was wearing one.
Oh,
But then
weird.
His entire outfit was American flag stuff. Even his shoes was like.
But
American
that's the
flag.
Kanye scenario.
Yeah, and I was like, what is happening here? Is he then doing it to be ironic?
I don't know.
So yeah, that was really confusing.
Yeah, or like Mexicans who support Trump.
Yeah, that I don't get.
I mean, Gabe is a Mexican, so Gabe's like, what? Why, what?
But I mean, I will say that there are some Mexicans that.
Maybe it's the conservative side?
Yeah, there are some that are like, you know what? Like, I got here legally, and everyone else is, being,
I don't know.
They're doing it the wrong way. Which I get, but.
Well, this kind of turned out how I thought it would. Kind of not. Probably spent too long on it. I was noodling a lot. I know that. But in memory of Cucui, who is now gone, he passed yesterday. So that was the point of the stream, basically. So, where did it go? Did I delete it already? Really? Oh, there it is. So yeah. Rest in peace, Cuckoo. My little boogeyman. Well, they don't hate themselves yet. They'd probably still vote for him again. It's just a weird thing. It's just a video. I've got more on my Instagram too if you want to see more of Cucui. But yeah, it's okay though. He's buried in the backyard. He had a good life. He was a good ham. He's one of my best hams. So I feel very honored I got to take care of him. And even if something is tiny and passes, I think it's important to acknowledge it, Even if it's a fish, doesn't matter. Even if it's a bug, taking a minute to be like, I'm sorry. Like, I hate the shit out of centipedes, man. But if I take a centipede's life, I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna be like, I am so sorry. I feel like it's showing that you're humane in a way, or at least compassionate, that you care, Alice, I'm leaving though. It's 7, man. With a fluffy jacket on, like a cloud hug. Oh, I like those hugs. I know exactly what you're talking about. Those are good hugs. Oh, man. Anyway, the whole reason that Cucui is drumming is because when he would go on his wheel, he had a very rhythmic running, which a lot of my hamsters didn't have. They'd start and stop and have varying times and whatever, but he was on beat. So, since his name was Cucui, too, when we named him, he looked like a little boogeyman. And Cucui is the Mexican boogeyman, so he's ferrying other hamsters to the other side via drumming like a Pied Piper. That's how I thought about it. Dude, I have way better stories than this, but I appreciate that. I'm going to do my other books first. Believe me, you'd like those a lot. Yeah, Uber, dead hamster. No, these are actually millet spray. They're a type of like grain sort of thing that rodents tend to like to chew on and stuff. It's kind of a weird texture. It's I can't even describe it. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe this. I'm not even gonna try. It feels how it looks. Right, Dr. Nico? Oh, man. Maybe I should start streaming at 7, because here comes everybody now, like you do. I might just have to do that. 7 o'clock seems to be when everybody's home. Does it really, Creech? That's awesome. In some areas, yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't realize how dark that is. Hold on. I'm gonna change this one thing and then we're gonna be out of here. But here. So I made that so dark and I forgot to do it over here. Because if I don't do it now, who knows if I ever will. Who's under me? Hi, Butter. What are you doing? You just going around? You wandering? You're very sweet, though, Creech, to say this is a book. I actually have a book about ferrying the dead with certain creatures. So I'm not going to give too much on that away. But it's coming. Yeah. So I kind of stole, I guess, the idea from myself, but at the same time, not really. It's true, but if they're in their cage, Serenity, it's okay. Oh, really, Nikto? Oh, man. Yeah, it does look like alveoli. You're right. Alveoli. I've always had trouble with that word. Even since 5th grade when I learned it, I have had trouble with it. Alveoli. Capillaries, damn it. Capillaries. See, and now I'm noodling again. Well, we got into some deep convos. I hope I helped at least a little bit, Serenity and Eliza. It's good to come to terms with certain things about yourself, you know? Like, I check myself daily on my intentions and what I'm trying to do all the time, so I think it's healthy to do that, you know? No, Eliza, it's okay. Nikto. So, Gabe, my boyfriend, is 100% Mexican, so he has all these cool words, and I was like, you know what? Let's get away from the Viking thing for a while. And, you know, what do you have from your side of things? And he mentioned Cucui. And Cucui is the Mexican boogeyman. And my nickname for him ended up being Cuckoo. But he looked like a little boogeyman to me. So it seemed to fit pretty well. And then, you know, he's kind of a curmudgeon-y old man his whole life. So I don't know. The darkness thing just worked. Caterpillaries. Caterpillar Aries. That's hard. I'm just gonna admit it. Yeah, Creech, it's a drama, that's for sure. A feel-good movie about death would be a drama. That's, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get funded. The Cupacabra. Oh, God. These are cute. Okay, guys. So, Gabe will probably be streaming on Wednesday per normal at 7 p.m. Central. I might switch to 7. Seeing how many of you guys are in here right now, this is like 10 more than usual. So, I feel like people are getting out of work at 4 p.m. anyway. So, we'll try it. How about that? Yeah, he's not evil, he's just neutral, you know? I mean, anything having to do with death I feel is super neutral. There's no evil there. He's just ferrying, you know, who's there over. I know, Uber. I miss you, man. But I feel like also since summer's over, people are online more often too. So usually winter's pretty good in terms of streaming. Summer sucks. No one's ever online. Like, our summer was super dry. It was like maybe 5 people here sometimes. It was crazy. So yeah, like I'm happy it's getting to be winter because more people will probably be hanging out. So I miss y'all. Alright, and I'll be on Friday for sure, one way or another. But if I end up having to work on something that I can stream, I'll totally do it. I'll probably just throw out my little... Where did it go? Okay. So I have this new thing now where I can do this and just, where is it? Oh. Got this. And it's got a little Cucui on my head. Oh no! Gabe! Oh no. Well, you know, that's okay. That's okay. Because, I mean, this still has a big hamster on it. So hamsters are just part of my canon for my character, so whatever. Whether they're here or not. Good to see you too, Muffins. I'm sorry we didn't get to hang out long. But if you want to rewatch the stream, you can see how I did this for my hamster that is passed. Because I'm that guy. But yeah, otherwise we talked a lot about a couple life tricks, I guess, and ways to get out of certain situations you get in life. And if you get stagnant, what do you do? Art and non-art related. So, it's important stuff. Important stuff. It's okay, Muffins. Thank you so much for your condolences. I appreciate that. He was a good one. The white choo-choo. It's true. All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend, okay? Bye.